Hey gang, and welcome back to Grace's Book Place. I'm Grace and this is my book place. Bookshelf looking a little sparse because I have removed all of my middle grade books for today's TBR. I am doing the Believathon, readathon. I'm doing Believathon, which is a readathon hosted by How to Train Your Gavin, who I've recently become a little bit obsessed with on BookTube, been loving watching his stuff, and this, I believe, is the last Believathon that he's doing, which is really sad, but I'm lucky that I have found his channel and stuff and joined BookTube just in time to take part in the final one. So my whole TBR for this month is being replaced with Believathon. I am gonna do 6 of the prompts. I printed off all of the prompts, cards, things, and cut them all out, and then I glued them onto card, and I cut them all out again because I'm extra like that. So now I have like a deck of Believathon prompt cards, which is cool. So all that's going to happen for this, I don't know if I mentioned that this is a middle grade specific readathon, so all the books I'll be reading will be children's books or middle grade or whatever, which is why, yeah, I took them all out of my bookshelf because easy access. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be poorly shuffling all of these prompts, and then I am going to just pick at random. We'll see what we get. I've got the accompanying Believathon compendium out on my laptop in front of me, so I can, like, if a prompt isn't clear enough, or if I want to double check what I can definitely use for the prompt, I'll double check that. So, like, for example, the first prompt is read an adventure, and all of them accompany like a little rhyme. So the first one, read an adventure, it says a brand new setting to explore, take the plunge, open the door, but on the card, which I've shuffled off of the top, so yeah, but on the card it just says the rhyme and read an adventure, but in the compendium it expands and says read any book that is considered an adventure story with characters that go on a daring or exciting journey. So it expands a little bit to give you an idea of exactly what the prompt really is asking for. I also am reserving the right, so it's like there's a couple of these that don't necessarily apply. Like, for example, one of them is like a book that has illustrations, and I don't think I own an illustrated middle grade, though I could probably stretch that if there's like a picture anywhere at all, but you know, if I can't fulfill it, I'm not putting any pressure on, I'm just gonna pull another one, do another one. I'm only doing 6 because that's what I usually aim for with my monthly TBR. 6 is a comfortable number of books for me. If during the month I finish those 6 books and I want to carry on, I will probably, like, maybe I'll vlog it or something, or do it on Instagram or something like that, but I'll pull a 7th prompt and read another middle grade. Like, I'll stick to the prompts and the middle grades throughout, even if I do extra reading. So yeah, that should be fun. There are a couple of books that I would like to get to out of these. So one of the ones I really want to read next is The Secret Garden. I recently read Anne of Green Gables, and it put me in a sort of nostalgic classic children's book mood, and I remember watching the movie of The Secret Garden when I was a kid, and I don't remember which version it is. I just have like weird snippets of it in my head, but I remember really enjoying it, so I've had like a really strong urge to pick this up, so I'm hoping this will come up. There are also like a couple of books that I wouldn't mind. I mean, I wouldn't mind any of these coming up because I want to read them all, but there are a couple of books I wouldn't mind, but they'd be more difficult. For example, if I could only fit Trials of Apollo, The Dark Prophecy, which is book 2 in that particular series, which is like the 3rd installment of the Percy Jackson world or whatever. I am technically reading this. I think I've read the first chapter. Yeah, we're on chapter 2. But this is technically a buddy read because I read all of the Percy Jackson books and all of the Heroes of Olympus books with my husband, like out loud to each other, like reading it together. And we read the first Trials of Apollo book that way, and I think we've been taking a break for a couple of months because I think like Caleb experienced a little bit of burnout with how quickly we were reading them all. So we took a bit of a break, and if this comes up, that's fine. But I might, like if I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this before the end of the month, I might pull another one and read something else separately, just because it's not guaranteed that Caleb will be available to read the whole thing this month. So those are that's an example of one of the ones that would be harder to do if it comes up. Brilliant. Okay. So I'm just gonna shuffle these in between each pick and then just take off the top one. So for the first book that I'll be reading for Believathon, it is that upside down? Is that upside down? No. Read a book that has illustrations. Literally the example I used for one I'm not likely to be able to fulfill, but I'll have a look. Okay. I have two potential options for this, and I'm leaning towards one, but it's a bit frustrating because I was hoping it would be available for if I got a different prompt. But so the options I have are The Hobbit and Shadow Forest by Matt Haig. The Hobbit only really has illustrations at the beginning of chapters, it has these little pictures in my copy, so they're the illustrations in this. Otherwise I don't really have another one. The Shadow Forest has a couple of big ones like this. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. It has a couple of those larger. There were a couple more, but I don't know where they've gone. Oh, there's one. It's disappeared. Where did it go? I don't know, but there's another one. There's another one there. So I guess I'll choose this one because it actually has full-page illustrations. It's a bit frustrating because this is the only one out of all the ones I have that you could really call a scary book. So if a prompt came up saying read a scary book, this is the only scary middle grade I have. I mean, there are themes in a lot of the other ones that I could try and stretch to be it's scary. But this is the only one that I think is actively marketed and has a scary storyline. I am excited to read this one though because I read it when I was a kid, and it's in my head. It's an important read important book that I read, but I don't remember really anything about it. I just remember one scene with a pixie trying to make him eat poison or something. I don't even remember if that's this book or a Terry Pratchett book. So it will be fun to read it and see if it's this one. But either way, read a book that has illustrations, I'm going with Shadow Forest by Matt Haig. Awesome. Reshuffling. Okay. Can't read that. Read your most recent purchase. Oh. Okay. So, out of all of these books, because all of these ones, the classic Oxford Classic Children's Books thing, they're all from a box set that my mum bought me when I was literally a child. And then there's The Hobbit, which I've had since I can remember. My name is written in the front of it in my mum's handwriting, so I must have been young enough that she was I need to make sure your name's in this. And then there's a trilogy, the Stoneheart trilogy, which I've had again since I was a child. So the most recent purchase is this one, The Dark Prophecy from the Trials of Apollo, Book 2, because Caleb and I bought it to read together after we finished Heroes of Olympus this year. So I guess this is going on, and I have to really hope that Caleb is going to be available to read it with me. Otherwise, I'll have to think of something else. But yes, that's going on, and that's fun. That's book number 2. Third pick. Read a book with a 2-word title. Are you proud of me for reading that backwards? Because I am. Read a book with a 2-word title. Everything is 2 words. Stoneheart, Black Beauty, The Hobbit. So those are some contenders. Have I got any of it? Oh yeah, there's Treasure Island and Party Shoes, which I think I read as a kid but have no recollection of. And then there's these two, Iron Hand and Silvertongue, but they are sequels to Stoneheart because it's a trilogy. So I think that I'm going to put Stoneheart on here because I read this one ages ago and I loved it. It's a really cool story. You know, I haven't actually been going into what these stories are about, so I'll do that at the end. But anyway, yeah, I've read this before. Read it as a kid. I would like to finish off the trilogy because I didn't read the sequel, either of them. I didn't read the next two books. So I'd like to reread this. I don't even remember if I finished it, but I'd like to reread it and finish it so that I can read the rest of the trilogy. So we'll put that one down for read a book with a 2-word title, Stoneheart by Charlie Fletcher. Awesome. For pick. Wow. Read a book from your childhood. Okay, awesome. Read a book from your childhood. I feel like we've chosen... I guess Party Shoes would count. I don't really... It's not on the top of my list to read, but it would be fun. Okay. For the sake of being completely honest with this, I'm going to go with Party Shoes because it's the only one left that I read as a kid and remember enjoying. I don't remember anything about it other than the fact that I must have liked it. Read a book from your childhood. Party Shoes by Noel Streatfeild. Awesome. How many is that? That's 4. Okay, 2 more. Okay. Read a short book. Oh no. All of the books that I really want to read aren't that short. Let me double check to see if it specifies what number is this, 18. See if Gavin has said exactly what that means. Read any book that is considered a short book. This can be a novella, a short story, or anything under 250 pages. 212. Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hound of the Baskervilles. Baskervilles, not Baskervilles. I'm going to read this one because I've picked it up a handful of times and never actually finished it. And I've never actually read a Sherlock story, so Hound of the Baskervilles is a good place to start. So read a short book. Hound of the Baskervilles. Lovely. Right, this is the last one. I'm not going to be able to read that backwards, so there you go. Read a book with a title that starts with the same letter as your name. I should have taken this one out because I actually, when I was looking at them, I was testing to see which ones would work because Gavin says, like, if you don't want to do some of them, don't do them. And my initials are GCR, and I don't have a single middle grade or children's book that start with those. What's left is Jungle Book, Flambards, Hobbit, Secret Garden, Iron Hand or Silvertongue, A Monster Calls, Treasure Island, Black Beauty, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. None of those work, so I'm gonna put this to the side and pretend it never happened. This is the last pick. Continuous series you're already reading. Okay, well then I guess we're putting Iron Hand on. So I'll finish Stoneheart and I'll move on to number 2, which is actually pretty nice because I don't like waiting too long when I'm reading a series. Like I would usually just read them straight after each other. So at least I have an excuse then to do that with the second one if I finish Stoneheart. So that's great. So that means at the end of all of that, this is my Believathon stack. I'm going to quickly go through what the books are about because I didn't do that to begin with, and I know that a lot of people will be intrigued. Shadow Forest. I'm going to read the blurb because I don't remember much about this one. So, Samuel Blink is the hero of this story, but he doesn't know it yet. Right now, he and his sister Martha are in the back of his parents' car. He has no idea a giant log is about to fall from the sky and change his life forever. He doesn't know that he and Martha will be forced to move to Norway and eat their Aunt Ida's smelly brown cheese. He hasn't the slightest clue Martha will disappear into Shadow Forest. A forest full of one-eyed trolls, the sinister Huldra folk, deadly truth pixies, and a witch who steals shadows. A forest ruled by the evil Changemaker. A forest so dangerous that people who enter never return. No, Samuel Blink doesn't know any of this, so don't tell him. It might ruin the book. Yeah, it's just a great, like, children's horror in a spooky forest with pixies and trolls and mythical fairy tale creatures, and that's why, like, that's everything I love. And I remember loving it as a kid, just not really remembering everything about it because it was so long ago that I read it, apart from that one little pixie scene, which from the back I'm guessing definitely is this book because it said truth pixies, and I remember loving that scene, and probably is one of the scenes that sparked my love for, like, the way Holly Black writes about fairies not being able to lie, and, like, so they're really tricksy with their words and everything. Like, I just love that. I love how specific they are and how, like, riddly they are. So, and then we had most recent purchase, which I picked the second book in the Trials of Apollo series, The Dark Prophecy. If you don't know, like, if you haven't read Percy Jackson or Heroes of Olympus, I would personally suggest, like, you read those first. I don't think you have to, but you do meet characters at a certain stage of their lives in here that will spoil. Definitely Heroes of Olympus at least for you, because, like, relationships get established in the Heroes of Olympus, and, like, their whole, like, plot points and cliffhangers and, like, all of this stuff. And there are some big cliffhangers at the end of the Heroes of Olympus series that are, like, big questions, I guess, that are answered a lot in here. So do those first. It's a good time, honestly. Caleb, my husband, he read Percy Jackson as a kid and then read all of Heroes of Olympus straight after. I didn't read them until this year, really, because I just never read them as a kid, and we own them because he loves them. And I loved it so much, like, I loved those two series so much that I was like, we have to read Trials of Apollo, which Caleb had never gotten around to reading. So we're having a lot of fun reading the Trials of Apollo for the first time, both of us, rather than last time, which is where he knew everything and I had no idea. The premise of this is that the god Apollo has been made human. And I can't say much more than that because the reasons why and, like, all of the ins and outs of it give spoilers for the other two series. So it's just very cool, it's very funny, it's a good time. And yeah, I'm excited to read this one. Okay, Stoneheart was for read a book with a 2-word title, and then Iron Hand was for continue a series you're already reading. So I can't tell you anything about Iron Hand because it's a sequel to a book I haven't either finished or I don't remember. And I'd like to read this like it's fresh. So I won't read the blurb on this because it might give something away, but just know that this follows on from this story. So this is a really cool story, I think, about a boy who... Okay, I'm going to read the blurb and then maybe I'll expand, but okay. When George breaks a small dragon carving from the Natural History Museum, he finds himself plunged into a world he can't understand. Racing for survival in a city where sculptures and stone carvings move and fight, where it's impossible to know who to trust and where nothing is what it seems. Enter the original and breathtaking world of this epic adventure, the first of an exciting 3-book sequence, and you'll never see the city the same way again. Awesome. Okay, so this is set in London, which is cool because English. Basically, this kid, like, breaks a bit of stone off of the museum in anger because I'm on a school trip and he gets told off. Like, this happens at the very beginning, so this isn't spoilers, this is how it all begins. He's annoyed and he's gotten told off by his teacher and sent out to wait out the front, and in his anger he pulls off some stone carving thing, and some magic happens, and suddenly the gargoyles are coming to life and attacking him, and the statues of like war veterans and famous people are like talking to him and helping him on his mission to fix what is broken, essentially. And I don't remember anything other than that. I know that he meets some cool people / statues along the way, and that moments of this were tense when I was reading it when I was younger, because like gargoyles are attacking and that's scary. But yeah, this is a really good time. I remember it being that anyway, so I hope upon reread and then continuation of the story, I hope that remains true. But I'm very excited to read those, so that's cool. Oh my gosh, look at that. Me writing my name in books so I didn't lose them at school. What a nerd. Next one is Party Shoes. We got this for Read a Book from Childhood because I read this as a kid, remember enjoying it. I remember it, without looking at the blurb just now, I remember it feeling a little bit Little Women-esque. Like it's just, maybe it's Anne of Green Gables-esque. Like I feel like it's just some nice stuff happening in a particular time. So let's have a look. When the parcel arrives for Selena, it causes great excitement. A beautiful dress and gorgeous shoes, the best present a girl could ever have. But when will she wear them? It's wartime after all. She and her cousins decide to organise a pageant. There will be singing and dancing, and Selena especially has a very important part to play. Yeah, like to me this feels like Little Women putting on their shows in the midst of sadness, and like Anne of Green Gables sort of just that book being just a joy of glimpses into childhood and fun, sweet things happening. So I think that this is a little bit like that. So it might be nice to have that experience. And then we got Read a Short Book, and most of these books are short, to be fair, except it was specifically under 250, which is why I couldn't get The Secret Garden on there, which I really wanted to read, but that's fine because I'm excited about all the rest of these. I'm going to read The Hound of the Baskervilles. The Baskerville family has been haunted for generations by a fearsome hound, a phantom beast with blazing eyes and dripping jaws. Surely it is just a legend. Then Sir Charles is found mysteriously dead in the grounds of Baskerville Hall. It is time to bring in Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson to discover the truth about the family curse. I started this a couple of times as a kid. I don't know if just the manner of writing or something put me off, or I just put it down or didn't continue with it maybe when I was younger. I don't know because I don't remember much about it, but obviously The Hound of the Baskervilles is a very famous story. I mean, any Sherlock story is famous, but this is one of the big ones that lots of people know of. So it would be really fun to actually read a Sherlock Holmes book because I love a good mystery. I love Sherlock Holmes in every other medium I've experienced those stories and that character. So it would be really cool to read some of the source material and actually start reading some Arthur Conan Doyle. Okay, there we have it. All the books I'll be reading for Believathon. Follow me on Instagram at Grace's Book Place to see maybe how I'm getting on with these, to see when I'm reading them. I have a reading tracker, so I always post when I'm finishing a book, when I'm reading a book, all of that stuff in my stories. And I also, if I end up finishing these and choosing a 7th book, I will definitely probably put a video of me choosing the next prompt on there. I may also vlog it, but we'll see because I'm making my first ever vlog at the moment and I'm new to it, so we'll see if it's any good. That was it's just my TBR for the Believathon. I don't know why I'm being so weird about this, but cool. Thank you for being with me while I picked all these books out. I'm really excited to read more children's fiction. I don't read enough middle grade and children's fiction, to be honest, and I really should read more because my brain and imagination is such that I would probably love everything that I read. But yeah, so let me know if you've read any of these or if you're interested in reading any of these. It'd be really cool to see what you guys think, have a conversation about the books we love. Thank you for joining me in my book place, and I'll hope to see you next time. Bye!